So Shannon's parents brought the kids on Felicity's birthday. But the day before that, I started feeling wrong, started getting mouth sores. I was, chemo effects. But it was worse than chemo effects. The next day, they were bringing the kids in, and it was also the Apple event, which, I'm kind of a nerd, so I was very excited about that even through this storm. They were gonna release the iPhone 10, and my sister-in-law, she was gonna come. We were gonna just watch the Apple event together, and while Shannon's parents took her and the kids to a birthday lunch. We didn't watch it. I don't remember anything. I was knocked out, but I was alert and aware, and also not alert and not aware. Hard to describe. I slept through the event, and I also didn't get to see my kids that day. I was rapidly declining, and I couldn't handle any more germs in the room.
Okay, Tristan, what do you want to tell Daddy?
I miss you and I wish you were out of the hospital, and I love you.
I love you and I wish you were out of the hospital. I love you, Daddy.
What?
I love you, Daddy.
The kids left, everybody left. I started rapidly declining to the point where I was basically dying. I had an infection and things were not going well. Didn't seem like this was the leukemia doing this, because my white count was 0. It's pretty easy to get an infection when your white count is 0. Problem is, they didn't know where the infection was coming from. And if you don't know where it's coming from, you can't really fix it. So I was on powerful IV antibiotics. It was working through me, but that wasn't quite good enough. And they moved me to a morphine pump, so I could click it anytime that I needed morphine. And I did a lot because I needed it. I was in a lot of pain, and I had some weird dreams. I still remember some of the dreams that I had. I felt like I was typing on a computer. Felt like there was a waterfall by my bed. It was so weird, so weird. I felt like I gotta work. I gotta get to work. And I started hammering. I make videos. I don't hammer, but for some reason I thought I needed to hammer something. It's crazy stuff. They put me on a morphine pump because I was unable to swallow any of my pills and I had to have the pills. They switched me to all IV medications, which they don't like to do because they don't want you to stop using things. Because when you stop using things, when your body's in that state, you kind of just die. But I had an infection. They didn't know where it was. While I was declining, my nurse came into the room and she told me point blank, if you don't want to die, you've got to get up, you got to go to the bathroom, and you've got to eat something. Well, obviously I didn't want to die. So I pulled myself together and I got out of that bed and I walked around and I went to the bathroom and I laid back down, and I did that like every couple of hours. I was not going to die in that bed. And I didn't. I started losing my hair around this exact time, the 12th to the 13th of September. And I had a beard, always had hair, except for a time previously when I had been on chemo as a child because of my kidney disease. But I kept waking up and there was hair on my pillow. I knew that that was coming, but that is so difficult to see and to feel. Even though we didn't see them the day before, I really did want to see them. And we knew that they needed to be a part of shaving my head. It was going to be a big deal, and they needed to see it. So my kids came in there, my in-laws came in there, and we borrowed a razor and took care of it. My father-in-law was there, and he got his head shaved when I got my head shaved to support me. And it really did. It really did support me. When I saw my dad, he had shaved his head too. It really does help. They figured out what was going on. I say they. My wife figured out what was going on. She asked, could it be the central line that was in my chest, what they were running all the fluids into? They said probably not. That doesn't normally happen, but we'll take it out, we'll check it. It's a good idea. It was the central line. It had gotten a staph infection inside of it. And that was being pumped into my heart, which was, killing me, even though I had antibiotics. Once they pulled that out, I started getting better. I mean, still leukemia, but I started getting better. That same nurse who told me I was gonna die if I didn't get out of the bed came a couple of days later because she was back on her shift and was very surprised to see me. She said that I thought that you would be in heaven by now. Okay, that's real. Glad I got up. Glad we figured that out. Those words hit me hard. Everything became much too real at that point. I don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. But man, hearing those words from a medical professional that she thought that I would be in heaven by now, it's crazy. No one's prepared for that.